and then you have to explain yourself about how healthy you really are. And I don't know how it is. I think, sometimes you just get a little tickle in your throat at times. I think it's always when you're being watched. And so it'll be good for us to get past this and get past this really challenging time. I always say that for Kenya, this is very difficult because COVID is anti-Kenya. It just goes against that community, that desire to be together, to greet one another, and eat together, drink together. It's really against the culture. And so it'll be good for us to get past this, get healthy again. Everything won't be the same, obviously, but hopefully it'll be very close, and we can get back quickly and get back safely. So it's my pleasure to be here with you today, and really one thing is for me to learn more about the Somali Voices Peace Promotion Fellows. Thank you to Equal Access International for being an excellent partner and guiding the fellows in their work. I know that I would find that to be I wouldn't find that to be work. I would find that to be a real opportunity, because I truly believe that the youth of this country have the ability to elevate it to a level of prosperity that will be really famous throughout the continent. I believe that, and I believe in the youth that much. So I think any of our projects that are investments in youth are good investments. Thanks everyone at the Global Engagement Center for supporting this much needed initiative to counter violent extremism in Kenya. I'm impressed by all the Peace Promotion Fellows. In fact, I was with Honorable Abdi Shuriye, I think it is. I have tough time pronouncing his name, but from Garissa, Fatuma. And I told him that I was leaving his meeting here to go over and congratulate you and others. So it's always good to connect those that represent you and to the community, because sometimes they tend to spend a little too much time in Nairobi, and they probably should spend a little bit more time in their county. So I remind them to get back home as much as I can. But I'm impressed that the Peace Promotion Fellows have accomplished what they've accomplished over the past year, online and offline, creating grassroots initiatives and campaigning for change in Garissa, Wajir, and Eastleigh. Your efforts to raise your voices against violent extremism are more important now than ever. As you know, the United States is very involved in providing security, and together with the KDF and all in the border control and other units. But the greatest impact we can have is with the Wananchi. The greatest security that can be brought about is with the people. And so we should never underestimate that. As you know, terrorists will not just take a break for COVID. But they'll take advantage of any situation to lure people into their web. Terrorists just don't stop at a pandemic. And so we have to be vigilant. And I think this is part of that vigilance, that we continue, even if it's online, even if it's virtually, to work together and train young people to be the real ambassadors, the ones that really make the impact in the community. I mean, I can say something here in the next 5 minutes, but Fatuma and the others are the ones that can say the most. And they can say it with passion, as you can tell, and they can have a greater impact than I can ever have. And so it's in these unsettled times such as now that terrorists will use fake information and outright lies to try to convince people that they should help them. And but your voices of reason, giving your peers a vision, giving them a picture of something better, an alternative future, is critically important. You know, one thing I was impressed by what you said, Fatuma, is that you didn't say, will you continue this program? What you said is, you understand it's not going to continue, but you're going to continue doing the job. And I have to admit, I've been in other graduations where people said, how are you going to fund it next year? And you know, if we did, that'd be fine. And if we were able to, well, I'm sure we would. But if we're not, what are you going to do? And I think you answered that question. You answered the question before it was ever asked, and that is, you're going to keep doing the job, you and others. So I just want you to know that not everybody responds that way, which you did. And I think what that means is the United States, the generous citizens in America that gave up the funds to implement this program, they made a good investment in you. They made a great investment in you. So, like your peace promotion efforts, the United States Embassy's support for countering al-Shabaab recruitment and messaging, it's not stopping with us, even in the middle of COVID. Our programs will continue to support the development of county action plans and strengthening communities, building interfaith dialogues, preventing radicalization in prisons, training journalists to report on violent extremism in their communities more effectively. We're going to continue those things. Some people, they say, I had somebody meet me in the grocery store this last weekend, and they said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, you know, my wife and I, we have to eat. And so we buy groceries." And they were quite surprised that I buy groceries. I actually enjoy shopping for groceries, but they thought I would have left. The truth is, no, I haven't left, and my team here at the U.S. Embassy has not left. Some have gone back to take care of their parents and family who they needed to protect. As you know, this COVID has hit the United States a lot harder than it has Africa. And so I obviously support them to go back and take care of their families. But there is still a very large team here that is implementing these programs every day. So we will continue to work hand in hand with Kenyans to combat extremism in any way that we can. We strive to be, as I say, you know, I always use the expression USA Marafiki, which you can see behind me, because I believe that this should be more than just an agreement. It'd be more than a contract. It should be more than a partnership. It should be a friendship. Because I think a friendship goes beyond the letter of the law. It's based on, again, passion and a concern for one another, that you do what's right at the time for the person that you're committed to. And so I believe that this friendship is getting better. It's my goal to make it the best it's ever been. We believe strongly, I personally believe strongly, in the power of youth to address the challenges of their nation. And I was speaking to somebody yesterday, and I said, listen, my vision for Kenya may be better than many Kenyans. And that's why people say, well, you're not being very realistic. It's okay. If people think I'm not being realistic and my vision is too big for Kenya, that's okay. If that's my fault, I'll accept it. But we do believe big things and good things for Kenya. You know, you have demonstrated that young people can be leaders in your communities and that you can make a profound difference in the lives of other people. Again, I can only give you a few words, but you in the community can have a much more effective have much more effective results. The Young African Leadership Initiative, or YALI, is just one example of ways that the United States government invests in Kenyan youth. Through YALI, we support the next generation of African leaders as they promote growth and prosperity, strengthening democratic governance and enhancing peace and security across all of Africa. YALI sends the best and the brightest to Washington, D.C. every year for the Mandela Washington Fellowships Program. In 2019, we provided these opportunities almost 300 young Kenyan leaders. This is one of my favorite things I get to do when I go to the counties. I've gone to 43 so far, and because of this COVID, if it wasn't for COVID, I would have finished the whole country. But one of the most wonderful things I get to do is sit down at round tables with YALI alumni and hear what they learned in the United States and what they're doing with that to impact their communities back here in Kenya. And that, I tell you, is so very rewarding. Many times I take my wife, Victoria, with me, and the things we talk about on the way home are normally the conversations we had with young people who are passionate, love their country, and are ready to do whatever it takes to change their country. So I'm encouraged, and I feed off of your energy, your ideas, and your determination. And I believe it's those characteristics in the youth of Kenya that will be given credit for its success. As you graduate from this program, I hope you will continue your efforts to sow peace in your communities. And I know when you do that, it's going to have a wonderful effect. You know, it's one thing to be famous for how much money you make, or even the power that you obtain, perhaps in politics. But what better thing to be famous for than changing your community, not just because you were paid, not just because there was profit involved, but because you simply love your community and you love your country. And so I hope whatever you do in the future, that becomes what you're famous for. I also urge you to uphold the ideals of honesty, integrity, and discipline, and to resist, turn a blind eye to the get rich solutions and schemes that some people will tell you about. I always say, if you're smart enough to steal $1 billion shillings, you're smart enough to make $1 billion shillings, and you don't have to worry about the law. But I believe in your potential. So let me just share one final thought, and that comes from my fellow Illinoisan, my favorite president, and one you probably know very well. And this is when I ask everyone to say who that is, and they all shout Obama. But this is President Abraham Lincoln. And what he said was, don't worry when you're not recognized, but strive to be worthy of recognition. As you move to the next chapter of your life, remember to always strive to be worthy of recognition. Congratulations to the Peace Promotion Fellows on all that you've accomplished for your communities and for your country, because it's worth it. Have a great day.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Makata. I think for the PPFs, can you put on your videos at least, and even just a wave to the ambassador? Thank you, Ambassador, for those words of wisdom to the young people. And now when you go to the counties, you can also, if you go to Garissa, Wajir, you can also say hi to the Peace Fellows. You'll find them there. Thank you. Sisi ni marafiki. So we appreciate those words. PPFs, have you waved back? PPFs only, so that we don't hang. Yeah. Yeah, I think some have connection issues. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. We can now move to the next speaker. And I want to invite from Equal Access International, our Director of Peace Building and Transforming Extremism Practice, Mr. Kyle Dietrich, so that he can give remarks. He is in DC. Welcome, Kyle.
Thanks, Chris. So good afternoon, good morning for us from Washington, D.C. It is such a pleasure to see all of your faces. I want to thank the Ambassador McCarter, also a Kyle. I'm a Kyle. The U.S. Embassy, our colleagues, Abby, our GEC colleagues, Mike and Dan and others, also my EAI colleagues that are here. It's really nice to see your faces, and I hope you all kind of take in this moment, because the presence of all of these individuals, the U.S. Ambassador, all of us, all of you, needs to show you how important you are and the work that you're doing is. And so don't let that be lost on you. Despite COVID, right, our ability to mobilize and to continue and to adapt to do this important work is a feat in and of itself. So on behalf of Equal Access Headquarters, our leadership, I'm very delighted to just take a minute to join you and play a small role in your graduation ceremony. So you all know, I think, but I just want to kind of frame what you're part of. Equal Access works in 15 different countries. We launched in Kenya only in 2018. Our programs that you're part of are designed to really foster breakthrough solutions and normative change. So this is a really key thing, is what we're looking to do through you is to transform disempowerment and marginalization into empowerment and possibility. Right? And so how this works is through you, we are better able to understand what the resources, the resiliencies, and the visions of talented young people like you are, and how we can amplify those, how we can network you, train you, learn from you, and then create what we call alternative pathways and narratives. This work that you're doing is not easy. We don't pretend that it's easy, and you take great risks and you challenge your minds and the people around you to offer a different pathway, right? And this pathway has to be very appealing. It has to be attractive. It has to meet some of those basic human needs to belong, to exercise self-efficacy and self-actualization, to have a purpose, because we know the work of violent extremist organizations, malign actors, criminal networks is real and is effective. And so how can we make the work of CVE equally empowering and activated to really draw in young people to contribute to civic empowerment and pro-social outcomes and a unified vision for social change? And so this is why you all are so critical, right? One of the biggest joys of my job, and I've been with Equal Access for 4 years, is I get to travel around the world. And during COVID, this is really hard because we don't get to sit with you. I've met our PPFs in Nairobi last fall, and I followed the work of all of you in the past few months with your campaigns. But I've been part of training and designing our tech camp curriculums and working with PPFs around the world. We have over 100 PPFs in several countries. We've trained hundreds, if not thousands, through our tech camp process, right? And this curriculum that you've been part of is specifically designed to support transformative leadership around countering violent extremism, creating alternative narratives, fostering your life skills, your storytelling skills, your advocacy, and really helping to advance social and behavior change. And so we commend you for all the work that you're doing and all the work that you're going to do. You are a critical component of what we call a messaging hub, right? The Talodun platform. This is a messaging hub that has all these different components that are united in this broader mission to diffuse social norms, amplify new visions and voices, and you as the credible influencers within these networks. You are nodes within an incredibly critical network that is offline, that is online, and that is capable with scale to truly rival in size and scope the influence of all of these other kind of dangerous forces that we have to be real about that exist. And let's not be, fooling ourselves at thinking this is just Kenya. This is a global extremist identity movement that we're in. This is in the US, this is in Europe, this is all across Africa. We work in Afghanistan, in the Philippines, in Nigeria, in the Sahel. And these dynamics are incredibly complex and not getting easier, right? And when it comes to the information space, and this is why we call our approach an ecosystem approach, is that we have to understand all of the hate speech, the fake news, the propaganda, the misinformation and disinformation. These are really delicate spaces. And so how can we, through you, build the kind of level of critical thinking and media literacy in individuals so they question, right, what they are buying into, the decisions they make, how they see their role within the community, how they understand these different pathways, and why they can choose the right path. And so you do this in very humble ways, but also in very courageous ways. I follow you online, and I watch how you use your different skills and tech-savvy ways. And you have this degree of credibility and legitimacy because you are from these communities. And we hope through these platforms that we've been able to create with some USG funding that you now have a megaphone, right? That you can position yourselves in continuing to work as role models, as influential leaders, and that your vision can overwhelm any of the kind of negative visions that our societies are facing. And so you are encouraged, and we obviously plan to continue and pull this project into the next step. And so we hope you will stay engaged with us and that you will continue to pay it forward with all the young people, your families, your siblings, your friends, your communities, students, in what you do. And so COVID is hard. The ambassador spoke really elegantly about how the challenges are for us to do this work. And there's a great deal of uncertainty. There's a lot of anxiety. And we have to be real that this is also an opportunity for malign actors to take advantage. And so it's incredibly important to continue to use these platforms and the skills that you've developed to get the needed information to the right people and to reach out beyond your comfort zone. So you're not just having an echo chamber of effect, you're actually pushing it out, and it's creating this resonance and engagement far beyond your current network into new networks. And so we're excited to watch that happen and to support you and to connect you with fellows around the world so that you really feel that you're part of a global movement. I think that's part of the phase 2 that we're already brainstorming options for. But with that, I'll say thank you. This is about you, and we congratulate you. Just a first step in our engagement with you, but thank you on behalf of Equal Access. I'm very proud of all the work you've done.
Thank you very much, Kyle, for those also words of wisdom. That was a double dose of Kyle, the ambassador, and Kyle, the director. So we appreciate, and I'm sure the Peace Fellows have been able to see the bigger picture and what they are part of, not just in Kenya, but globally. Before we go to the next remarks, we are going to have a short session where we'll have a Q&A with the Peace Fellows. So if you have any question which you'd like to ask the PPFs, you can put it in the chat box. We might not ask all the questions, but one of them will come and facilitate a question and answer session where some of them can respond to some of the questions that you have, so that they can also explain a bit more. So feel free, just use the chat function, type out your question, and then the PPFs will be able to respond when we have the Q&A session. So after those remarks by Kyle, now I want to invite Mr. Michael Taylor, who's the Director of Counterterrorism at the Global Engagement Center, which is in the United States Department of State. The Global Engagement Center has been supporting Equal Access and supporting us in the work that we've done with the PPFs. They have been our donor, and at least they have, I can say they have planted an important seed by having the PPFs in the different locations in Kenya doing the work they are currently doing. So I want to invite Mr. Michael Taylor. Welcome to give your remarks. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Chris, and good afternoon and Jambo to all of you in Kenya from here in Washington, D.C. Thanks to Ambassador McCarter. I know he had to move on to other things, but for his inspiring remarks. And just to share a little bit of a story, he and I met with my boss, Special Envoy and Coordinator Leah Gabriel, earlier this year in DC, and we talked about the great work and the initiatives ongoing in Kenya with our respective organizations. But for some reason, he did not try his Swahili on me. So I'm going to make my best attempt as I give these remarks and work a few words that my colleague Dan Schumann has been able to teach me in the last couple of days. So I'm looking forward to critiquing at the very end of this. But again, greetings to our Equal Access International partners, in particular Kyle Dietrich in Washington, and Abdel Rashid Hussein, Chris Wakube, and their wonderful team in Nairobi. Thanks also to our embassy staff who have been GEC's great partners, as well as eyes and ears on the ground and good friends throughout this project and on many other initiatives as well. As Chris mentioned, my name is Mike Taylor and I'm the Director for Counterterrorism at the U.S. Department of State's Global Engagement Center, or GEC as we're known, because everybody likes acronyms. The GEC was established to recognize, understand, expose, and counter propaganda and disinformation, whether it's from certain governments that are trying to undermine the international order or from violent extremist organizations in the case of what we're talking about here today. We do work closely with other U.S. government agencies, with international organizations, with governments of other countries, and coalitions such as the Global Coalition to Defeat ISIS, and with a whole range of private companies, academia, and non-governmental organizations. Now, we know this work can't be done alone and requires a whole of society collaborative effort, both public and private, and in particular, everyone on this call. Somali Voices is a great example of this collaboration. We partnered with Ambassador McCarter's team at the U.S. Embassy in Kenya to develop this project, and we are so pleased to be working with Equal Access International to implement it. And on the Nairobi end, Equal Access and all of you work daily with the government of Kenya, county governments, and many local and community organizations to spread the word, to share the important message that violent extremism is destructive to the country, the people, and ultimately the future of Kenya. Each of you are part of a wider effort that unites the Kenyan and American governments and peoples, as Ambassador McCarter shared. Now, together, we're building a future of inclusion, justice, and prosperity. And I also echo what Ambassador McCarter said earlier, that together we are and will continue to be Marafiki. Hopefully I got that right. Today we are here to celebrate you, the 18 Peace Promotion Fellows who have worked tirelessly since the tech camps that Kyle alluded to a year ago, to learn about social media, community development, to support the Taladoon radio broadcasts and social media projects, and to create and carry out your own projects that help strengthen communities, your communities, to fight the evil, destructive nature of violent extremism. Now, you've worked in very difficult security environments, and you've faced up to and overcome the problems posed by even COVID, the pandemic that we're all facing. You've kept in mind the terrible attacks on ordinary Kenyans, whether at Garissa University and at Dusit Complex, and you've recognized the loss of human potential that they represent for your generation. You've learned how to identify signs of radicalization and to turn negative attitudes into positive narratives. You've helped your peers find ways to make their lives better than they could ever be if they were subject to the harsh ideology of violent extremists. You've reached other young people, as I've heard Fatuma share, as well as parents and government and society leaders, to build a community dedicated to peace, tolerance, and progress. I congratulate you all for the dynamism of your action in pursuit of inclusion, justice, and prosperity. Now, you join people around the world in your positive ambitions for a better society, and you are working for it in an exceptional way. We've talked today about today as a concluding event, and in a few minutes, you will receive certificates marking the end of the project. But I know that for you, and we've already shared this multiple times, this is actually not the end, but the start of something greater. I'm inspired by the commitment you have shown, and I want to say that we respect and admire the work that you have done and the work you will no doubt continue to do. We in the GEC talk about building a network of networks, working together to address the problems of propaganda, radicalization, and violent ideological extremism. In our work, both now and in the future, we are deeply committed to connecting and supporting the many people of goodwill in Kenya and across Africa who are dedicated to peace building and to the ideals of a tolerant and democratic society. I learned recently that one of you described your project in these words, and hopefully I get it right. The idea of the campaign was to be a voice for vulnerable women who do not have a voice in their own community. So here's what I wish for all of you. Be that voice, empower other voices, continue your pursuit of inclusion, justice, and prosperity for all Kenyans. Again, congratulations, and I look forward to hearing more about your positive impacts in your communities in the years to come. Thank you. Asante sana. Congratulations.
Karibu sana, Mr. Taylor. I think we can give you a pass in Swahili. Thank you for your words. So we hopefully will be able to meet the Peace Fellows and they can give you more. But thank you for those encouraging words, and thank you for the support that GEC has really provided to give a voice to the PPFs. That is why they are able today to confidently speak. So thank you for that. Next, we are going to listen to a video by one of the PPFs. She's Azmi Abdul Wahid, a PPF from Nairobi County. She made a video which is talking about her journey. So we'll be able to listen to that. But before that, just to remind you, and I've seen already some people have started posting some questions. And so we hope Aisha, who's going to be moderating that session, is already taking note, and she'll be able to assign who will be able to respond to those questions. So keep the questions coming. It will be interesting to hear some of those answers from the PPFs themselves. Otherwise, let me welcome my colleague to just play the video by Azmi.
My name is Azmi Abdul Wahid. I'm 21 years old and currently a university student in Nairobi. My community here in Nairobi faces many challenges, whereas violent extremism groups are causing continuous problems to Kenyans. Communities living along the border in Garissa, Wajir, and Mandera face bigger and unique challenges from violent groups, such as frequent attacks, disruption of livelihoods, closure of schools, among many other problems. I have always wanted to be part of the solution to the problems facing my community, but as a young student, I did not have the necessary skills and confidence to start such a task. Mid-last year, I saw an opportunity to participate in a technology camp hosted by Equal Access International East Africa. I applied and was selected among a group of 22 participants who did an intensive one-week training in Nairobi. Similar trainings were held in Garissa and Wajir for young people of my age. Among the skills we obtained during the training were to understand how violent extremism organizations use social media, skills to engage online audiences, storytelling, public speaking, and how to become an influencer. My journey, however, did not end there, as I was again selected as a Peace Promotion Fellow. Together with 20 other TechCamp graduates, we were mentored again by Equal Access to develop our own personal campaigns, which would then be disseminated through online and offline spaces. I was personally interested in empowering women to be part of the campaign against violent extremism, and to a bigger extent the fight against FGM and gender-based violence, which are equally affecting women. I would speak to friends about the problem of violent extremism and also speak in gatherings and student meetings. My biggest platforms were, however, on social media. I set up dedicated social media channels to do weekly engagements. I would do videos, podcasts, blog posts, and infographics that all geared to limiting the influence of violent groups on the youth. In May this year, together with my 20 fellow peace promoters in Nairobi, Garissa, and Wajir, we did a week-long coordinated campaign on social media dubbed Youth for Peace 2020 to target the youth with messages to support, empower, and ignite discussion on issues affecting our communities. During the one-week coordinated campaign, we reached close to 500,000 people on social media. I believe through my efforts, my fellow youth in Kenya now better understand the impact of violent extremism in our communities and ways we could work together to overcome the challenges facing our country. Together with the other fellows, we will use the skills we have acquired to overcome this challenge. Join us, support us, and encourage us.
Thank you very much for that video by Azmi. She has tried to condense a very long journey in a very short video. And of course, you could see even from the pictures, the PPFs have undergone a lot of experiences. They have also undertaken a lot of work. So it is quite good. So thank you for that. So we'll go to the next session, and this is the Q&A session. Like I said, we welcome people to put the chat box and questions. So we already have some questions, and because the PPFs are already facilitators in the community, so let me just hand over to one of the PPFs, Aisha Mohammed, a PPF from Wajir County. She's going to moderate this session, maybe respond to some of the questions or ask some of the other PPFs to respond. We'll try to capture as many as we can. Some of those questions which we cannot maybe respond to in this session, you're welcome to continue interacting with the PPFs, even post the graduation. So Aisha Mohammed, welcome.
Okay, hi everyone. This is Aisha Mohammed, a Peace Promoter Fellow from Wajir County. And my focus was on girl, child, and women empowerment, because I know that when you educate a woman, it's like you have educated the whole society. So when we give the VE knowledge to women, we know that they are going to pass the information not only to their children, but to the entire society at large. So I felt that my campaign should focus on women and girl child empowerment. So I'll be a moderator on today's program. So I'll be asking the questions to my fellow PPFs. The first question is, how might the PPFs continue to use some of their skills in their communities? We know that we have gained skills throughout the session. That is, we learned a lot, as we were told by Fatuma Kune, through the journey as PPFs. So how are these skills going to help us? Ahmed, can you please respond to that question? Okay, we know that we have gained a lot of skills, that is in what conflict is, how to solve conflicts, how to overcome the conflicts, how to educate our society on the dangers of this conflict. So since we have gained all this knowledge, personally, I, a youth from Somalia, I am sure that after the end of this journey, I will be able to use the skills that I have gained from this tech camp, from the Peace Promotion Fellow, to educate my fellow youths, to at least so that they can get the skills. Together, we can make a change. Together, we can stop radicalization in our societies. If there is any other PPF who has any suggestion, could you please add to it? Okay, let us go to our second question. That is, where do you feel you have made the biggest impact in changing the mindset of youth and community members around radicalization and violent extremism? And Abdirghafar Gababa, can you please respond to that question?
Let me check the question from the chat box. Okay, repeat the question. I lost connection a little bit.
Where do you feel you have made the biggest impact in changing the mindset of youth and community members around radicalization and violent extremism?
Okay, thank you, Aisha, for the question. I think if I will talk about personally the project that I was doing, although I cannot touch much on all the projects, I was trying to do a project on empowering youth, mostly on economic issues. As you know, Aisha and the team here, in Kenya, what we currently face is unemployment. The youth are facing unemployment issues. And I will quote or I will cite research done by one of the Kenya's institution, that is Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, that it has done research that 10 million Kenyans are today jobless, and out of 10 million, 70% are youth. So 70% of those youth pose a great danger to this country. For example, if you look at terror outfits or violent extremist groups, most of them lure these youth into the organization with money, power, everything, so that they can carry attack on us. So my project was focusing specifically on empowering youth economically, where I get to change their mindset from formal employment to starting their own small initiative, probably in business field. And on the project, most of the youth got interested in the project, and they changed their narrative, they changed their mindset from looking for formal employment from the government to starting their own initiative and self-employment. So I think they have seen a right way not to wait for the government, because as they wait for the government, their time is going on, and in this process, violent extremist groups get to fill the gap by giving them money, luring them into the organization, by telling them to attack on us, carry many kind of illegal activities on our country. So now that their mindset have been changed from formal employment and looking for employment from government only to starting their own small initiative, because the mindset of our youth in Kenya is that if you graduate from university, colleges, or even high school, you need to look for formal employment from the government. But now their mind have been transferred from looking for formal employment to starting their own small initiative, self-employment. And that is what the government of Kenya has been advocating for. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Abdirghafar Gababa, for the nice suggestions and answering the questions well. Let us go to the third question. That is, how well were you accepted by the government leaders or other older people? What did you do to be sure your work and opinions were taken seriously? Mohammed Hassan, please, can you respond to that question? Mohammed Hassan, please respond to that question. The question is, how well were you accepted by the government leaders or other older people? What did you do to be sure your work and opinion were taken seriously? Okay, if I may attempt to respond to that question. Okay, Fatuma Kune, please go ahead and respond to that question.
Just let me check if it's the muting, which is a problem. So just a second, let me see. Yes. Yes.
For example, us from Garissa, through our outreach coordinator, when we were hosting our events, and when you are going to the schools, maybe, or when you're bringing the youth together, we used to, the outreach coordinator used to go and, for example, invite the county commissioner and the leaders in the community. So they use for the good. So now, when you call the community and for example, the member of parliament is there, the county commissioner is there. Now the community, they see this as a serious thing. So by inviting them through our outreach coordinator, the community used to take us seriously. So they used to believe in what we were doing.
Okay, thank you, Fatuma Kune, for that. I might not be able to ask all the questions, but let me ask the last question. That is, my big question is, what are the key observable success they have achieved? Any failures they have observed? What can Equal Access International do? What can Equal Access do better to improve the peace promotion fellow work? That is the last question, and it's an open question. Any of the PPF can answer, please. The question goes again. What are key observable successes they have achieved? Any failures they have observed? What can Equal Access International do better to improve the work of the Peace Promotion Fellow? It's an open question, please. You can answer that, yes. Okay, if I may respond to that question, that is, first of all, we say thank you to Equal Access International for the support that they have given us. That is by doing our online campaign. And by doing our online campaign, we appreciate the effort that you have given us. Second, what you mostly us we have could have wanted Equal Access to improve on is that first of all, they could provide at least enough resources for us to do the campaign, because most of us, our campaigns were majorly on youths. So if you are going to interact with the youth, obviously with a high rate of unemployment in our country, when you call for a meeting, a youth expects something back in return. So if we were given more resources, that is, as a Peace Promotion Fellow, I am sure that we could have engaged many youths in the society. So thank you, Equal Access, for the opportunity. Thank you, Equal Access, at least, for giving us the skills, the knowledge. At least I can say that I have gained, personally, I can say that I have gained a lot of things through the trainings which were provided by Equal Access International. So it is a thank you from I and my fellow PPFs, because after this, I am sure that we can still continue with the campaign, because we have gained a lot of skills and resources. So thank you. And that is the end. For all those who have asked questions, thanks. For those maybe we have not responded to your questions, I'll try, we'll respond in the chat box. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Aisha. Thank you for moderating that. You've done a great job, considering you're moderating from hundreds of kilometers away from where some of us are seated. I think it was a good Q&A, and I know there are still more questions. I actually saw one of the other PPFs. I think they wanted to speak. We still have 4 minutes. I see. Yes, I've seen who? Shukriya, and also, yes, maybe we can start with Shukriya. If you want to add anything.
I've been way quiet, so I decided to say something. Anyways, I wanted to respond to the last question Aisha Aden asked.
And Shukriya, can you be near the mic? We can hardly hear you.
Okay. That like to first of all. Okay. First of all, I say thank you, especially to Equal Access. After all, I was able to influence my peers, and I got my confidence and my voice back. And trust me, I will change a lot in my community. My question, the answer to that question was, for example, like what can AI change, right? We want an identity. For example, the other day we went for, we request. The other day we went for our International Women's Day. We participated in that. We were among the communities. And then people were asking us, who are we? You just cannot go somewhere and say, I'm a peace promoter. People expect you to have something with you. Where do you belong? You see, not everyone will give you an interview or a one-on-one talk with you. They need to know where you came from. So it was really hard to explain to them. Am I taking sense? Yeah, it was really hard to explain to them. The other thing is bringing people together is kind of hard. For people, they expect something in return at the end of the day. So resources has been tight on us. Yeah, and then the best thing that I've done so far was bringing different, my project is religious coexistence for peace. As we all know that religion is very sensitive. Most of people is very sensitive. It's not something you can really bring to people that share different beliefs from you. So what we did was we were able to bring different kind of religions together and discuss the problems that we are facing and tell them that, for example, we as a religion, Islam, we are people have misconceptions that every attack or every problem that happens in Nairobi we are to blame, but that was not the case. We were able to bring our voices out. We were able to communicate with people to let them know that we are here to bring peace to our community and not the other way around. That will be all for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shukriya, for the additions. Yes, I can see Gababa wants to say something. Gababa, be brief because I saw Bashir also wanted to say something. So
okay,
now we have 1 minute.
Okay, thank you. I'll be very brief. I'll be adding on the point Shukriya and Aisha have said. I think we have changed the social behavior currently, but now we need to go down deeper into the community now that, for example, when I talked about youth empowerment or empowering them economically, as you know, I have now changed their mind, or we have now changed their mind and changed the narratives. But it's time we go deeper and support them to start the initiative in future with even bigger support. I don't know. It's now to go down and support them. We have changed their mind, but we need to support them now with the little we'll be getting. I don't know from where, I don't know. Okay, anyway. And the team, as you're aware, the government of Kenya or even the president of Kenya was doing a call to action for you to join technical vocational educational training institutes in Kenya to start hand-on skill courses. For example, you can start to be I don't know, to be a tailor. Yeah, you can be a artisan. You can be a carpenter. So we need to support these youth now into that way so that they can start their own self-employment. Thank you.
Thank you, Gababa. Bashir, 30 seconds, and then Abdurrahman, 30 seconds.
Yes, okay. On the last question, what observable success that we have made? Actually, I can say, yeah.
Bashir, please speak to the mic. We can hardly hear you.
I don't have a mic. Yeah, I'm using an earphone. Can you hear me?
Okay, Bashir, I think we can't get you. So maybe let's hear from you can hear from who was next? Abdulrahman. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. I would like to add what Shukriya has said. Some of the achievements that we have done and the failures. Shukriya mentioned about the project I'm doing with her, the religious coexistence in the society. In our journey, we were able to do interfaith discussions together with the religious leaders from both majority from both religions, together with community leaders, the youth, and the women leaders. We were able to come and discuss together to teach the youth the right teachings of Islam because they got brainwashed. Also, we were able to talk to university students also to teach them about the real image of Islam, because some of them, they believe negative stereotypes. So that's some of the activities that we have been doing. Also, I can mention some failures. In the interfaith discussion, some of the community members didn't show up because they were expecting something to be given, either refreshments. So these were some of the challenges that we faced. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Abdulrahman, for that addition. And thank you to all the PPFs, those who've been able to speak, and also Aisha for moderating. As you can tell, I think the PPFs are now, even me, I was trying to take notes because they are more knowledgeable than myself in this subject matter. So congratulations, and continue sharing this information and knowledge in the community. So now we've come to another key session in the graduation today. This is the presentation of certificates. I'm sure we present certificates with COVID. We have certificates, but for today we are going to do e-certificates. So those certificates will be presented online. So I'm going to invite Mr. Daniel Schumann, who's the regional coordinator at the Global Engagement Center. Ayla spoke about GEC and the work that GEC is doing. Dan has been our point of contact, and every month has been Danny that the PPFs are undertaking and reporting back to GEC. So Mr. Schumann, welcome. He's going to do the presentation. So because we are all in different locations, he's going to read out the names of the PPFs, and then we will project the certificate which the PPFs post-COVID will come and collect from our offices. So Mr. Daniel Schumann, welcome.
Thank you very much, Chris. It's really an honor to have been asked to present the certificates to the Kenya Peace Promotion Fellows. As Chris has said, I've worked on this, worked with Equal Access and with the U.S. Embassy in Nairobi on this project for well over a year now, and I've been delighted to see how well it's progressed and how good and effective the work that the Peace Promotion Fellows have accomplished. So the certificates that I'm going to present, they represent and commemorate the passion and dedication of the PPFs to the cause of peace building, tolerance, justice, and inclusion. So up front, thank you for your work. Let me begin. We're going to do this geographically, I guess. So we'll start with the Peace Promotion Fellows in Garissa County. The first certificate is a Bashir Dagane Haji. Thank you. Like moving on, Rahim Yaro, congratulations and thank you for your work. A third certificate in Garissa is for Fatuma Ahmed Osman. Congratulations and thank you so much for work. Okay, I think we're cycling in the wrong direction there. present the certificate of Kune Mohammed from Garissa. And again, thank you for your contributions. The next certificate is presented to Ahmed Ibrahim from Garissa, and congratulations. Thank you for your contributions. And the last certificate from Garissa is presented to Zaytun Mohammed Aden for your contribution and your work as a Peace Promotion Fellow. So that concludes the certificates to be awarded to the Peace Promotion Fellows in Garissa County. Let me now turn to Wajir County. We have 6 certificates to award to participants in Wajir. So the first certificate to be presented in Wajir County is for Muhammad Abdi Musa. Thank you, contribution and congratulations on the program. The next certificate is presented to Abdi Kitiye Dahiye, and thank you for to the PPF program, and congratulations. The next certificate in Wajir is presented to Saddam Hussein Yusuf. Thank you for your contribution and congratulations. The next certificate is presented to Aisha Mohammed Adan. Thank you for your contributions and congratulations. And the next certificate is presented to Bishara Dahir Bashir from Wajir, and thank you for your contribution to the program and congratulations. And the last to the PPFs in Wajir County and to Hanan Desai. And thank you for your work and congratulations. Finally, I'd like to turn to Nairobi County and to the Peace Promotion Fellows who have completed their projects in Nairobi. So the first certificate is to Abdi Baba Ahmed. And Kababa, thank you for your contribution and for your work. The next certificate is presented to Mohammed Hassan Gure, and again from Nairobi, and congratulations on completing the program, and thank you for your contributions. The next certificate is for Azmi Abdul Wahid, and also from Nairobi, and congratulations and thank you for your great contributions. The next certificate is for Kulthum Hussain from Nairobi. Thank you for your contributions and congratulations. The next certificate is for Abdi Rahman Mahmood. Thank you for your work and your contributions to the program. And the last certificate, it's my pleasure to present to Shukriya Hussain. Thank you so much for your contributions to the program and for your work. And let me just read the citation on the certificate so that everybody knows what we're congratulating people for. We're presenting these certificates to the 18 Peace Promotion Fellows for being the voice of your community and for highlighting problems faced through the power of social media. May you continue to be a role model for the youth in your community. That concludes the award of certificates. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dan, for that process. I think we should now call you the Chancellor of the University of PPFs. You see, in Kenya, when certificates, people graduate are presented by the Chancellor. So today you are the Chancellor, and congratulations to the...
I'm honored, Chris. Thank you.
Yeah, and congratulations to all the Peace Promotion Fellows. Of course, because of online, I know that some of the certificates were slow in appearing on the screen, but those certificates are here in the office. You will come and see Samiha and she'll give you the certificates. Anyway, congratulations. It's been a long journey. So we are coming to the end of our session, and I want to invite one of the PPFs who has graduated to come and give a vote of thanks. That is at the Kafa Gababa PPF, Nairobi County. Welcome, Gababa.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Abdul Ghaffar Gababa, and I am honored and lucky to have opportunity to give a vote of thanks on this special day. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you, and especially the following. Our chief guest, Ambassador Karl Makata, US Ambassador to Kenya, Michael Taylor, Director of Counter-Terrorism Global Engagement Center, Daniel Schumann, Regional Coordinator, Counter-Terrorism Directorate, Global Engagement Center, Kai Dietrich, Equal Access International, Director on Peace Building, Abdurrashid Hussein, Equal Access International Kenya's Country Director, and all my fellow peace promoters, all protocols observed. As the entire Peace Promotion Fellows, the journey of transforming our community stories and campaigns has been extraordinary, and we enjoy every step we made. I particularly take this opportunity to thank Equal Access International East Africa for making us credible voices of our community. The project really brought out the positive name of Somalis in Kenya to limelight. As it was known, our Somali communities were finger-pointed when it comes to terrorism in Kenya, but today, courtesy of Equal Access International East Africa's Somali Voice Project, we Somali youths are part of the solution on how we can end this menace in Kenya. As a result of intense training and capacity building by Equal Access International East Africa, we were able to carry out different campaigns in our communities, just to make sure that we change the narratives of violent extremist groups. As Somali youths, today, we see ourselves valued and put on the decision-making table. And after this graduation, we will still carry out our campaigns as usual, but the support like we got from Equal Access International East Africa is still needed for long-term vision. Daniel and Kyle, we met late last year when you came to Equal Access International East Africa's office in Nairobi, together with Abby Ross, to assess our campaigns as Peace Promotion Fellows. We remember you joining us for Taladon Radio Listening Program. Taladon is a Somali radio show aired on Somali local radio stations in Kenya. The show focuses on empowering youths and countering violent extremism. Daniel Schumann, Kyle Dietrich, and Abby Ross, we hope to see you again. Indeed, we built a large global family that we always cherish. Finally, I would like to thank you all for making this event a success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gababa. You heard the way he was speaking before. He got the certificate, and you hear the way he's speaking now with a lot of authority. So let me also thank you for the vote of thanks. So that brings us to the end of the graduation ceremony today. Can everybody put on their video? I know now it will be slow so that we can at least say bye to each other. Just put on. Yeah, you can wave. Bye. Thank you very much for taking your time, for being here for the last 1.5 hours. Thank you to the PPFs for all the sharings and to the guests for all the remarks. We'll see you another time, and you will find the PPFs in the county doing their work, but also online in social media doing a lot of work. Thank you and bye.
Thank you.
And a big thank you to you, Chris, too.
Congratulations, everybody.
Thank you, Kyle.
Congratulations.
Maybe
It's,
we just want to take a screenshot.
Okay, let's try. Before everybody goes, just hold on. We are going to take a screenshot. Okay.
We have.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
Oh, Kyle, say hi to your daughter.
My daughter wanted to congratulate you as well.
Hi. Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Bye. From Wajir, from Garissa, from Nairobi.
From the US. Bye.
And from Ottawa.
Bye-bye. Thank you for all the guests.
Okay, bye, guys.
Bye.